Hey everybody, I'm Storm Track meteorologist Nate Harrington. We've got some good news. The old weather blog, the Storm Track Weekly Weather Fix, is back. Did this last year and kind of got out of the habit of doing it, but we are back and we want to include this in our weekly rotation of content that we give you guys on our website, and we hope that you read it. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff that we're going to put on this weather blog. We're going to talk about the weekly events from the week past. We're going to talk about some interesting science news that might be published, and we're also going to hopefully take some of your feedback in these Facebook Lives and see what you might want to talk about. So this is going to be a very interactive thing that we do each and every week. We want you to be involved in it. The first week, though, of course, the first week back, I guess, we want to talk about the winter storm that we had last week. We didn't get a chance to talk about some of the reasons why the forecast was kind of hit and miss in a lot of spots. We briefly touched on it on our coverage, but we really didn't get into the meat and potatoes of it because we had ice to deal with the days after. We would have gone over it if we didn't have some of the travel problems and still some of the lingering impacts of that winter storm that we had to deal with over the weekend. So we're going to talk about that right now. We knew there was going to be some sort of winter weather event coming 4 or 5 days out, but we didn't know exactly what form that was going to take. By the time we got to Thursday night into Friday, we had a pretty good idea that we were going to see some sort of mixture of ice and sleet and snow, and that's exactly what we got. And the reason why we got that was there was a layer of warm air at about, say 1,000 feet that went all the way up to around 3,000 to 3,500 feet up in the air. And it's kind of weird to think about because normally when you go up in the atmosphere, when you travel up in the atmosphere, temperatures get colder. However, sometimes in the atmosphere, and it's a dynamic thing, the atmosphere can get warmer as you travel up. And that's exactly what happened on Friday. We had a little pocket of warmer air in the upper levels of the atmosphere, right around 1,000 to 3,000 feet, that basically melted all of that frozen precipitation, all that snow before it hit the ground. Now, once it melted, it refroze either right before it hit the ground or as it hit the ground, and that's what we got, that first layer of ice during the late afternoon hours. Then we saw that warm layer kind of erode just a little bit, and that's when we got the sleet and the snow. And that happened because of a phenomenon called evaporational cooling. That sounds very technical, but basically what happens is the process of evaporation actually takes heat from the surrounding air and cools it down. Kind of like what happens to your skin on a hot summer day. You've got sweat evaporating and it cools your body. Kind of the same principle, but basically that warm air layer was cooled down. That's why we saw sleet and snow accumulate. And most people only got about half an inch to a quarter inch of snow, but some other spots anywhere from an inch and a half of snow in Tuscaloosa and points in the west to around an inch here in Birmingham, and other parts of Shelby County and Jefferson County picked up anywhere from an inch to about a half an inch of snow. Just enough to make it a little bit treacherous out on the roads, but also make some very cool pictures. And we got a bunch of pictures. If you want to check out the gallery on our website, WIAT.com, if you click on the weather section and scroll down just a little bit, you'll be able to see that gallery full of pictures. And some of the ones we got, kind of like this one, show a pretty good, healthy dosing of snow in some backyards, and I know I had that. And it finally eventually melted, but we had all those travel problems on Saturday and Sunday with those icy spots. Anywhere in the direct sunlight on Saturday and Sunday, they were able to melt. But a lot of people were asking, well, some spots melted, some spots didn't. That's because of the shade. If you didn't see a spot with direct sunlight, most likely you weren't going to get any melting. And I still had ice in my driveway and up to my yard on Monday morning when I left. Thankfully, when I got back from work, Sebastian's back there laughing, but yeah, thankfully when I got back to work, or back from work on Monday, most of that had melted. I still had a thin layer of ice still late on Monday night. So crazy the winter weather impacts. Hoping we don't have to deal with that anymore. I know we'd like to see some snow, but we definitely don't want to deal with any ice. So switching gears a little bit, we're still in that winter weather mode, but we're going to quickly turn to severe weather season once we get done with winter. March, April, May, those are really busy times around here for severe weather, including tornadoes. And we actually saw a new study that was published by the University of Chicago says that tornado outbreaks are happening more often in the U.S., and this takes a bunch of data from about 50 years. Interestingly enough, though, a lot of climate scientists think that our really severe weather outbreaks and our extreme events are caused by global warming or climate change. These guys say that might not be the case. They thought that it would be the energy in the atmosphere generated by more heat that would cause these tornado outbreaks to last a little bit longer and be more explosive. However, it's the wind shear in the air, what we call helicity in the air, that's actually causing these outbreaks. And they estimated that over a 50-year span, back in 1965, a general tornado outbreak, a big outbreak, would be about 40 tornadoes or so. Now, it's about 80 tornadoes or so in 2015 when they were doing their research. So they want to ask the question, well, why are these outbreaks happening? Why are they more frequent? I've got my own personal ideas, and I know a lot of folks in the weather community share these ideas that we might have more outbreaks and more tornadoes because of the ability for us to all take pictures of tornadoes with our phones. Everyone's got a camera in their pocket. And over the last 20 years or so, the number of chasers, tornado chasers, who make it their job to go out and find these storms before they ever hit the ground, that's becoming more prevalent too. So basically we have more eyes to the sky, and if you have more eyes to the sky, you're going to see more tornadoes. Back in the day, when we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have tornado chasers all over the Midwest and around here, the only way you would hear about a tornado would be if it hit your town, or if it hit a town and you saw it in the newspaper. So we've got more ways to get information. We've got more ways to get data. And I personally think that's why we've seen the number of tornadoes spike in this country over the last 20 years or so. We do have a link to that article if you're a scholarly person or want to just read on some nerdy science. The article is posted on the weather blog. The Science Daily has that published, and it also has some more details there too. And we also want to touch on very briefly something that's not happening here, but on the other side of the country, California, they've been in a drought just like us. They've seen some improvement, thank goodness. They still have a lot of areas that are in desperate need of rainfall, but this is their time of year where they get it in boatloads, and that's what they're getting right now. They've had about 2 straight days of rain. The Sierra Nevada mountains on the east side of the state, near the borders of Nevada and Utah, are getting just absolutely pounded by snow. A couple of cities that are mountain cities, Truckee, California, that normally sets the record in California for snowfall during a season, they're basically snowed in. And also Lake Tahoe is snowed in. That big snow and ski resort is snowed in too. So you think about folks going to Lake Tahoe for a nice relaxing weekend or week of skiing, they basically can't go anywhere. So they're snowed in. And we've got video also linked on our website. The CBS News website has a lot of good video there, so we linked them on this as well. We could use all the rain we can get. We're still in a drought. We talked about drought yesterday. I went out to Lake Purdy. While it is getting a whole lot better, we still have some desperate need for rain. And I actually posted a drought update on our website too. That you can find that on WIT.com and just search drought. You'll be able to find our latest drought story there. And we're going to be updating that pretty regularly too, because we're still in a drought. We still need it. It's getting better, but all the rain we could get, we sure do need. So right now, if you're watching this live, it's 4:10 or so. Mark Prater, Chief Meteorologist Mark Prater, has got your complete forecast. Had a little bit of rain today, had a little bit of rain last night. Do we see any more this week? We'll let you know about that. And temperatures climbing too. He'll have your complete forecast coming up on the news at 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. We've got all sorts of headlines in the news, sports too. We're following all that too at 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. So be sure to tune in then. But check out the Weekly Weather Fix. Leave a comment. Join us on social media. You can find our social media links in the Weekly Weather Fix story as well. And hey, Mark, how's it going?
You photobombed it.
Yeah, I was thinking
right
maybe
here.
if I'd sit back here and did a little this or something.
Oh, well, whatever we can do to get viewers.
Coming from the dungeon back there.
Yeah, we are back behind the set, so it's a little bit dark back here. But yeah, guys, tune into the Weekly Weather Fix. We're going to have this every single week. Members of our weather team, we might produce some fun videos too. Mark, I don't think we'll include his dancing in it, but
Well, you said fun.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was fun.
We need a little more light on
Oh
you.
man,
Was that working?